Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joy at Work. It's October 1st, 2020. I can't believe it's the first day of the last quarter of the year. Where did time go? With everything going on, it's just amazing that we're here. It's also a very special day if you are Nigerian or have Nigerian heritage or just love Nigeria. It's our Independence Day, 60 years old if my math is correct, October 1st, 1960. And so I'm rocking the Super Eagles jersey this morning as I come to you from Atlanta, Georgia. So really excited to be with everybody today and celebrate. And we'll have some cake later. Today I want to talk about, and it's fitting, I want to talk about joy and joy all the time. An interesting note, and I've forgotten the year this was conducted, but within the last 10, 20 years, I'll just give myself a little room there. Nigerians were considered the happiest people on earth. And I don't equate happiness to joy. I've said that in other videos, but joy often and happiness are often interlinked, right? But I still think you can be joyful and not necessarily be happy because happiness may be more of just an emotion, a transient emotion, while joy, for me, is more of a state, contentment, satisfaction, fulfillment, and a couple of other words you can use to describe it. But nonetheless, given that today is Nigeria's Independence Day, and we were at some point the happiest people in the world, and if you're like me, you grew up in Nigeria, you might see that stat and say, like, what really? But we know how to celebrate. We know how to have a good time. We've always known how to have a good time, even in difficult situations. Nigerians are very resilient, very strong, and find a way to soldier through. There are many things that we would like different with our country and we'd want to take care of, but nonetheless, we find a way to soldier through. And that leads me to this thought that has come up here in a few days recently, where people have said to me, like, if you're not happy all the time, that means you don't have joy at work. And I've thought to myself, if I told you that, I'm part of a joyful family, would you take that to mean that there are never disagreements in my home? No one never raises their voice. We don't get angry with each other. There's no crying. I don't think you'd think that. I think you'd think that just overall, that's a family where there's peace, there's love, there's a lot of goodness going on might be the best way to sum it. So when we talk about joy at work, it's not to say that we don't experience negative emotions at times. We're not upset or frustrated or overwhelmed. To be human is to experience those things. If you told me that you work somewhere where you never get upset or you're never just frustrated, I would say to you that I'm not sure you're human. I just don't know how that's possible. But having joy means that in spite or despite those emotions that we have, those feelings that we have, there's this undercurrent of contentment, a meaning, satisfaction, so that even when I'm upset or angry in the moment, when I take a step back and reflect on the whole situation, my whole situation, I have a confidence, I have assuredness that it's all relatively good and that I enjoy where I'm working and I'm doing meaningful stuff. And this is really more a bump in the road or something we need to work through, but it's not an indication of the overall state. And this is why I think it's very important not to get drawn into just reacting to things that happen in the moment as we're often want to do, which, something happens right now, and then I use that and make that the measuring stick for my experience overall. It's human, but it's lazy, right? When things happen, reflection calls us to put it in the broader scheme of things. And if we look at it in the broader scheme of things and that's our constant experience, then sure, of course, maybe we're not experiencing joy at work. But it could be that that's just a blip, that's a situation we need to work through. And when we take a step back, we find out like our overall experience is one that we would recommend to others. So joy at work doesn't mean that I in a state of giddiness or happy or don't experience negative emotions or um, don't feel a little bit of struggle. I've shared this story before. things that will remain with me till I'm no longer on earth are going to the farm with my grandparents years ago, and in spite of how tedious the labor was, my grandmother will be singing, right? And I just think about that in that moment with that hard labor, that old woman at the time, old grandma, definitely felt very old to me, um, would be singing and doing the labor, right? And so there was the love even in the labor. That to me was joy. And so we can experience difficulty, we can experience challenges, we will experience those things in the workplace because we're working with humans, and none of us is perfect, and yet we can still have joy. So don't define your joy by what happened in this moment or how a meeting went. Think about your joy in the grand scheme of things. All right, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you all again. Happy Independence Day to my fellow Nigerians who are out there, and I'll see you later. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy this content. Bye.